If you have ever Googled applied microeconomics and come away more confused than enlightened, you are not alone. Even inside academia, the term is used in different ways, and definitions you find online often miss the nuances. I am a labor economist and applied microeconomist by training, and in this video I'll try to demystify what applied micro really means, both broadly and narrowly, in a way that's accessible whether you are inside the field or just curious from the outside. Economics, particularly at the postgraduate and research levels, isn't what I would call a fully codified science. This observation may not be openly discussed within the profession, but it points to a key characteristic of many specialized fields, including economics, a heavy reliance on tacit knowledge. This refers to the shared, often unspoken understanding that economists acquire through repeated interactions. As a result, jargon that may seem imprecise or obscure to outsiders is actually used with a degree of precision within academic circles. Applied microeconomics is a prime example of this phenomenon. Finding clear, accurate definitions of applied microeconomics online can be difficult. Many existing definitions, though technically correct, often miss the nuances that exist in practice. For example, Oxford Reference defines it as a range of specialized areas of study within microeconomics, such as industrial organization, labor economics, public economics, health economics, and urban economics. While this definition lists relevant subfields, it doesn't quite explain what applied microeconomics really entails. A good way to illustrate this confusion is by looking at a question posed by a student on Stack Exchange, where they ask, what are the defining characteristics of applied microeconomics papers? I am trying to define my research interests and am confused whether or not to include applied microeconomics as one area. I work with household, firm-level microdata to explore issues in labor and education economics. What exactly is the defining feature of an applied micro work? This question reflects a common struggle. Is applied microeconomics simply a methodology, a subfield, or both? The confusion lies in how the term is used, and it's indicative of how the profession functions in practice. The response to the question in this case was helpful in pointing out that there is no universally agreed upon definition of applied microeconomics. A commonly cited definition, however, comes from Brown University's Department of Economics. Applied microeconomics refers to the use of data and econometric methods to test microeconomic theory. It includes labor, urban, education, industrial organization, public, health, and environmental economics. While this definition is valid and often used in academia, it could be refined further to capture the nuances practitioners in the field understand implicitly. In practice, applied microeconomics can be understood in at least two distinct ways: broadly and narrowly. In the broad definition, applied microeconomics serve as an umbrella term encompassing a wide range of subfields, including labor economics, health economics, and industrial organization. This definition refers to the application of econometric tools and empirical analysis across various domains to test microeconomic theories and provide insights into real-world phenomena. In this broader view, applied microeconomics includes applied theory papers, which often have a stronger theoretical component, and structural papers, which use formal models to perform counterfactual analysis based on individual or firm behavior. Within academic circles, the narrower definition of applied microeconomics focuses specifically on the use of observational data and specific econometric methods. In this context, applied micro seeks to address causal relationships, determining whether and how one thing causes another. This involves answering specific explanatory questions about real-world issues, such as whether changes in healthcare policy lead to improved patient outcomes, or whether minimum wage increases affect employment. Economists who apply these methods without anchoring them too heavily to theoretical models of behavior, that is, those not working within fully micro-founded or structural frameworks, may classify themselves as applied microeconomists in the narrow sense. This distinction allows for differentiation between those focused on empirical methods and those working more deeply in theory-driven subfields. It's worth noting that as the field evolves, the newest approaches and the ones I am most comfortable with conceptually bridge structural approaches with reduced form approaches. While this debate continues to unfold within the profession, for now, I will not delve into these nuances. To illustrate further complexities or dynamics that make this nomenclature obscure to junior economists and outsiders, we can consider a couple of subfields. One example is industrial organization, or IO. IO often employs structural modeling, where researchers build assumptions about firm behavior and market dynamics. While industrial organization falls under the broader umbrella of applied microeconomics, it typically relies on structural models and is distinct from the reduced form econometric approaches more commonly associated with applied micro in the narrow sense. In economic history, there is a distinction between economic historians and applied microeconomists using historical data. Both may analyze past economic phenomena, but their focus often differs. Economic historians may rely on archival research and descriptive analysis, while applied microeconomists typically use observational data to test hypotheses with econometric techniques. So applied microeconomics is both an umbrella term and a particular attitude within the profession. It can refer to a set of methodologies or a style of research, depending on how the term is used and the context in which it is applied. For students on the academic job market or those outside the field, understanding the nuances of this term can be essential. Specifying subfields within applied microeconomics is often more useful within academia, while bridging the gap with related disciplines, such as data science, may facilitate communication with the private sector. In future videos, I'll unpack further some of the jargon I mentioned here, terms like structural, reduced form, and counterfactual, and how they shape the way economists talk about causality. If you found this useful, let me know in the comments or share it with someone who's navigating these terms too.